You are now tuning into a drop of melancholy. If you are in a good mood and wish to remain so, do not watch this video.
We're, of course, uncovering more about the background of the suspected shooter.
Senior investigative reporter Jennifer Merrily is digging into that from the newsroom. She joins us right now. Jen, what have you been able to find out?
Well, here's what we know. The suspected shooter is 23-year-old Robin Westman. We've confirmed there is a connection to Annunciation. We've learned Westman was a former student and graduate from the school in 2017. Now, the shooter's mom also previously worked there. So Westman would be aware of the layout of the school and familiar with the Wednesday welcome mass. We know Westman showed up at the school this morning dressed in all black, carrying 3 weapons, a shotgun, a rifle, and a pistol, and shot through the window into the church where kids and adults were in the pews. We've also discovered a few videos Westman posted online that have now been taken down. This is a still image from one of those videos of what looks like a hand-drawn church and a knife. Now, the police chief mentioned they were timed to come out today, these posts. He also spoke about a manifesto. Some of the messages shared. So Westman said they were too tired of the pain this world gives out, and that they are not well and not right, and that they want to fulfill a final act that has been in the back of their head for years. Now, the shooter also apologized to their family in this note and said to pray for the victims and their families. It goes on, and I can tell you it is just chilling. This is also a picture of a gun that was posted in videos online. You can see writings on some of the ammunition and on that weapon. We are told when Robin was at Annunciation, they were called Robert. This is a graduation picture from 2017. In 2020, they changed their name to Robin. Now, we know that investigators traced the 3 guns found at the scene, and we've learned that Westman did buy them legally. We're told police learned the identity of the shooter quickly and went to their apartment to gather evidence and to try to find a motivation or something about this. Investigators are searching 2 other properties, we're told, and police say they are taking additional firearms from those properties into evidence. Of course, we are continuing to gather more information, and we'll share it with you when we have it. Frank and Amelia.
Well, with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who said this at a news conference following the shooting.
Don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance.
MSNBC host and former Biden press secretary Jen Psaki echoed Mayor Frey, writing on X, "Prayer is not freaking enough. Prayers do not end school shootings. Prayers do not make parents feel safe sending their kids to school. Prayer does not bring these kids back. Enough with the thoughts and prayers."
All right, so by now, I'm sure most of y'all probably heard what happened. A few of y'all probably don't keep up with the news and y'all don't follow the current events, but I'm sure a good amount of you guys already heard about what happened at the church. Okay, and yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts. It's just the world's getting out of hand. You know, we already know this, but the world's getting more and more out of hand. And what I want to talk about in this video is what Jen Psaki had said. Okay, Jen Psaki says something that kind of sounds like something we would say. Prayer is not freaking enough. Prayers does not end school shootings. Prayers do not make parents feel safe sending their kids back to school. Prayer does not bring these kids back. Enough with the thoughts and prayers. All right, and when that statement was made, a lot of people were pissed off. People are already pissed off about this whole incident, but people were more pissed off when this statement came out. But, I mean, there's a lot of truth in this statement. I mean, let's just be real. Where did this attack happen? It happened at a freaking church. And from what I hear, okay, it was a school and a church. Because, you know, a lot of times they have these churches and they also have, like, school services, too. And I think it only went up to the 8th grade, if I'm not mistaken. I heard, like, so many different reports. But it was a church/school, pretty much. I guess kind of like a private school or whatever. But apparently it only went up to the 8th grade. And from what I heard, these kids were, apparently it was during prayer. These kids were praying when this incident happened. They were literally praying when this incident took place. Okay, praying to who? Praying to God. Who else? When this incident happened, okay, when tragedy struck, they were in the process of praying. So this statement came out, the one you see on the screen, and everybody's mad. Everybody's mad, but why be mad when it's the truth? Okay, we just need to call a spade a spade. Why be mad when it's the truth? Okay, these kids were in the middle of praying, and you see what happened to them. Okay, I think he unalived 2 and 17 were injured. They say a few are in critical condition, and they don't even know if they're going to pull through. So the death toll might rise above 2. Well, actually, it's 3 if you include the shooter, because the shooter offed himself. And it's kind of crazy with the shooter, because let's just say it identified itself as a woman, but it was born a male. So yeah, but that's a whole different story. But I'm just talking about as far as people being mad with this statement saying prayer does not end school shootings, and it doesn't. You can pray all you want. Tragedy is always going to happen. These kids were in the middle of praying, and tragedy struck them. So this just goes back to what I made a video. I made a video like this a few weeks ago, because I think the same thing happened in Kentucky. I think it was Kentucky, somewhere like that. But same thing happened at a church, of course, during the middle of service when people are praying to God, quote unquote. And this just keeps happening over and over and over. Okay, so I'm going to say it again. Where is God when you need him? Okay, when things like this happen, this just confirms that God does not care about people, okay, or God isn't real. All right, most of us here don't believe in God, but when incidents like this happen, this just confirms, okay, this reinforces our narrative when we say God isn't real, or at a minimum, God doesn't care about humanity. Yes, this is terrible, okay? It's terrible what happened. I don't condone harming anyone, okay, especially children, but let me take that back. I don't condone harming children, okay? But when something like this happens, it just reinforces our narrative that God isn't real, or God doesn't care about humanity. I mean, there's just no way around it. And there's just so many different news outlets and, people just talking about this. People that are not affiliated with the mainstream media, just making videos like myself, just talking about it. And it's just sickening, because you go to the comment sections of these videos and the people are still in there saying, oh, we need to pray, or, oh, we need to get close to God, or, oh, you need to be praying right now. I mean, they just keep spewing the same tired narrative, okay? Anytime something bad happens, they go back to that same tired narrative. You need to pray. Well, these kids were praying, okay? These kids were praying, and you see what happened to them. And then when you hit them with facts like that, then they're going to be like, oh, well, God gave us free will, or just the same BS. Just the same BS. You see what I mean? There's just no getting through to these people. But when a statement like this comes out saying prayer is not freaking enough, they get mad. See, they get mad. It's the truth. And I think part of the reason they get mad because they know it's true. I mean, if you got kids in the church praying and they get deleted, I mean, what is that saying? It's saying God apparently ain't there to protect them. All right, God's not here to protect you. Tragedy can strike at any moment without warning. Bad things happen, okay? And bad things always will happen, unfortunately. God has no hand in this, no matter how much you pray. So whoever this person is, I'm glad they made this statement. Yes, it's messed up what happened, but this statement is very true. No, prayer is not going to bring the kid. What does it say? Prayers will not bring these kids back. Yeah, prayers will not bring the kids back. Enough with the thoughts and prayers. Exactly. This person's right. They're right. You can pray all you want. The same thing's probably going to happen within the next few months, or probably the next few weeks. Okay, the way things been going, it's probably going to happen again in a few weeks or a few months. Thoughts and prayers, no, they don't work. I mean, now if they implemented some sort of, let's say, security within these schools, okay, that's far more effective than thoughts and prayers. Okay, let's say, for example, kind of like back in high school or middle school, you know how we had the school resource officer. We always had an officer on campus, okay, an armed policeman. He always had maybe a 9mm just to keep people safe. All right, he was pretty much like school security. But they didn't want to call it school security. They wanted to call him the school resource officer. But you already know if something popped off, pretty much he was there to defuse the situation. Okay, they didn't want to call it school security because that doesn't sound politically correct, I guess. So they just called him the school resource officer, and pretty much he was security for the school. Okay, they just wanted to use a different word or a different term because it sounds nicer. Now, if they had something like that, these schools, these private schools, these churches, they had like an armed officer on campus, an officer with a 9mm or his service weapon. All right, something like that would be far more effective in terms of mitigating violence. Something like that would be far more effective. But you got these Christians, these people just saying, keep praying, keep praying. No, you can pray all you want. Tragedy will strike again, just like this. It's just what it is. You can pray all you want. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. So like I said before, these religious people, they're mentally ill, okay? They're mentally ill, just like the freaking perpetrator. Anytime something bad happens, they spin the same narrative. And it's just like I said before, it's just a tired narrative. What they have to do is, they're already talking about doing it. Get security. And it's sad you got to take it to this extent, but I mean, what else can you do? They got to get security at these churches, at these schools. So if something do pop off, now that person got to put their life on the line to try to defuse the situation. See, the school year just started. I think school has started. These kids had just went back to school. Okay, of course after the summer break, and I think school had began at 8 a.m. and I think they say around 8:15 a.m. is when the massacre happened. So yeah, these kids were barely in school for 15 minutes and then that happened. And there was another comment too. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna put it on the screen. And these are something anti-nihilists would say. And it says, I'm doing the best thing I can to protect kids, not having any. Yeah, this person has the right idea. They're not having children, and they see that as the best way to protect their children. And that's very true. And I'm surprised this comment got 34 thumbs up. That's very true. The best way you can protect your children is by not having them, by not bringing them into this terrible, terrible planet filled with chaos and confusion. I preach that all the time. And another commenter said, I don't blame you for not having kids. These kids nowadays don't have much of a chance to protect themselves. There's just way too much danger out there to desire to have little ones. And again, that's very true. Now, these people are not anti-nihilists, but with so much going on in the world, okay, just so much chaos and confusion, they just can't bring themselves to having children, okay? These are natalists, okay? These are NPCs, but they got just enough sense to see how terrible this world is and that they can't always protect their children. They can't protect their children 24/7. When they send those children off to school, elementary school, middle school, anything can happen. You see what I mean? Anything can happen, kind of like what just happened at this church. These parents can only protect their children when they're within the household, but as soon as they send them off to school, the kids are vulnerable. You see what I mean? So these people just don't want to have children at all, and what they're saying is true. All right, and this person left a comment, and you see what it says. It says, Lord, help us, comfort us. And see, this is part of the problem. It says, Lord, help us, comfort us. Well, the Lord didn't comfort y'all when this incident happened. Where was the Lord then? All right, I talk about this all the time, but these same people, they want to turn back to this, talking about they need the Lord help us. Well, the Lord wasn't helping you when you needed him to help you. Whenever you need him the most, that's when he don't show up. Kind of like having, let's say, a buddy. Let's say you got a buddy or a friend, and you might need his help. You need his help all the time, but he never show up. Well, what good is he as a friend? What good is he? When you need him, he never come through. He always wants you to help him. He always want to bum money off of you and all this stuff, but if you need him to give you a hand or just help out with something, he never come through. He just don't want to. It's not that he can't. He just don't want to help you. What kind of friend is that? You see what I mean? So it's kind of the same way with God and religion and all this other BS. What good is it? You always praying to him, but he never help you when you need him the most. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all. It's crazy what's going on. we just had something like this. I just made a video not too long ago. The same thing happened at a church, and I think he had unalived 2 women. And it's always at a church. You see that a place of worship, a place where you're supposed to worship God, okay? A house of God, as they call it. So, I mean, what more evidence do you need that God doesn't care about you? God doesn't care about people, okay? You can pray to him all you want. I don't care what these religious people say. You can pray to him all you want, okay? He'll never come through when you need him. Never. It don't matter your race, religion, or creed. He'll never come through when you need him. See, so really, you can only take matters into your own hands, okay? Because you can't rely on him. But that's all I got for now. Y'all let me know what you think, and I'll catch you on the next video.